They weren't born to lead revolutions, but these 4 royal women became rebels who changed history. They shattered traditions to fight for justice, equality, and progress. One challenged age stigma head-on, another stood against oppressive regimes. But their defiance came at a cost: exile, criticism, and even danger. What drove them to risk everything? Did their bold actions lead to triumph or tragedy? As we uncover their stories, you'll see royalty in a whole new light. Can you handle a royal rebellion? Let's dive in and find out. The Rebel Queen, Rania's educational revolution. Can you guess which royal woman was told she couldn't improve education? Meet Queen Rania of Jordan, a woman who refused to accept the status quo. When she became queen in 1999, Jordan's education system was in trouble. Outdated classrooms overwhelmed teachers and students falling behind. It was a mess. Picture cramped rooms with not enough books to go around, and students squinting at chalkboards they could barely see. It was far from the modern system Jordan needed to thrive. The numbers told a shocking story. In 1999, only 92% of young people aged 15 to 24 could read and write. That meant thousands of young Jordanians were being left behind, especially in rural areas. Queen Rania knew something had to change, and fast. When Rania started pushing for educational reforms, she hit major opposition. Conservative groups said her ideas were too modern and Western. Some even claimed she was trying to undermine traditional values. Can you believe being told you can't help children learn? But Rania didn't back down. In 2008, she launched the Madrasati initiative to transform the entire learning experience. Rania's team went into struggling schools and gave them complete makeovers. Fresh paint, new desks, and modern technology breathed new life into tired classrooms. Teachers got better training, students got more support, and parents got involved like never before. The results? By 2018, over 100 schools had been transformed, touching thousands of lives. Rania also founded the Queen Rania Teacher Academy to give teachers the skills to inspire a new generation. All that hard work paid off. By 2019, Jordan's youth literacy rate had skyrocketed to 98.5%. That's thousands more young people with the power to read, write, and shape their own futures. Experts say Queen Rania's reforms are creating a whole new generation of educated, empowered young Jordanians. It's the kind of change that could transform the entire country's future. And Rania's not keeping her ideas to herself. She's taken her passion for education global, joining campaigns like One Goal to fight for every child's right to learn. But education was just the start of Queen Rania's rule-breaking. Farah Pahlavi, the empress who dared to modernize Iran. Imagine trying to modernize an entire country overnight as a woman in 1960s Iran. This is the story of Empress Farah Pahlavi and how her vision for a new Iran nearly tore the nation apart. When Farah became empress in 1961, Iran was caught between ancient traditions and the promise of a modern future. She saw an opportunity to transform her nation, but she knew it wouldn't be easy. Education was her first target. Farah established Pahlavi University, Iran's first American-style college. It was a bold move, especially for women's education. In just 15 years, the number of women in universities jumped from 3% to 30%. Thousands of young Iranian women suddenly had access to opportunities their mothers could only dream of. Farah also founded the Organization for Family Well-Being, providing nurseries for working moms and job training for women. It was a direct challenge to old-fashioned ideas about a woman's place in society. But Farah's vision went beyond social progress. She wanted to spark a cultural renaissance too. The Shiraz Arts Festival became Iran's window to the world, showcasing both Iranian and Western artists. Can you imagine the shock when traditionally conservative Iranians saw avant-garde performances right in their backyard? Farah even became a champion of Iran's heritage, creating national museums and filling the Tehran Museum of Contemporary Art with an incredible collection of Western masterpieces. Not everyone was thrilled with this new Iran. Conservative religious leaders saw her reforms as a threat to their power and traditional values. As Farah pushed for change, the pushback grew stronger. The powder keg was primed, and tensions were rising. By the late 1970s, the situation was reaching a boiling point. Protests against the monarchy were growing, fueled by political frustration and anger at Western influence. Farah's dream of a modern Iran was slipping away. In January 1979, it all came crashing down. Farah and her husband, the Shah, were forced to leave Iran as the Islamic Revolution took hold. Her progressive reforms were swept away, replaced by a much more conservative regime. But here's the thing. Farah's impact wasn't forgotten. Even today, many Iranians remember her as a symbol of progress, especially for women's rights. In a 2022 interview, Farah reflected on her time as Empress, saying, "It was a beautiful time. I had the chance to meet so many wonderful people, starting with kings and queens and presidents, artists, writers, and musicians. It's a bittersweet reminder of what might have been." Farah Pahlavi's story shows us just how challenging rapid change can be. But another royal was about to take on an even bigger challenge, one that would test the limits of cultural understanding in a world torn by conflict. Queen Noor, bridging cultures in a time of conflict. What happens when East meets West in a royal marriage? For Queen Noor, it meant walking a tightrope between two worlds, with millions watching her every move. Could an American-born queen really change the course of Middle Eastern politics? When Lisa Halaby married King Hussein of Jordan in 1978, she stepped into a political minefield. The Middle East was a powder keg of tension, with conflicts between Israel and its Arab neighbors constantly threatening to erupt. Imagine navigating this as an outsider, an American woman suddenly thrust into the heart of it all. Queen Noor faced skepticism from day one. Some Jordanians saw her as too Western for their traditional society, questioning her ability to understand the complex cultural and political landscape. But Noor wasn't about to sit quietly in the palace. She had a vision for peace and was determined to make it happen. Noor became a master of cultural diplomacy, learning Arabic and embracing Islamic traditions while using her unique background to build bridges between East and West. In a region often divided by misunderstanding, she became a powerful voice for cross-cultural dialogue. Her work went beyond just talking. She rolled up her sleeves and got involved in real, on-the-ground humanitarian efforts. In 1985, Noor founded the Noor Al-Hussein Foundation, tackling everything from women's empowerment to community development. As conflicts raged across the region, Jordan became a haven for those fleeing violence. Queen Noor visited refugee camps, advocated for their rights, and used her global platform to shine a light on their plight. Behind the scenes, Noor became a quiet force in peace negotiations, using her connections in both the Arab world and the West to bring people together. She even helped broker talks between Jordan and Israel, paving the way for their historic peace treaty in 1994. The impact of Noor's efforts have been far-reaching. Her work with the Jubilee School brought top-notch education to gifted students from diverse backgrounds. The Noor Al-Hussein Foundation has been recognized by the UN as a model for development in the Middle East, and her advocacy for refugees has helped keep their needs in the global spotlight. But it hasn't all been smooth sailing. Noor's outspoken nature, especially on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, has sometimes put her at odds with more conservative elements. She's faced criticism and pushback, proving that even decades after becoming queen, she's still challenging the status quo. Queen Noor's story shows the power of bridging cultures in a world often divided by misunderstanding. But the most famous royal rebel was yet to come, a woman whose actions would shake the very foundations of the British monarchy. Princess Diana, the people's princess who shattered protocol. The British monarchy has weathered centuries of scandals and upheavals, but nothing could have prepared them for the whirlwind that was Diana Spencer. When this shy kindergarten teacher married Prince Charles in 1981, she stepped into a world of rigid traditions. The royal family had a strict playbook: maintain a stiff upper lip, keep your distance from the public, and never show emotion. Diana? She tore up that rulebook from day one. In 1987, at the height of the AIDS crisis, Diana shocked the world by sitting on the bed of an AIDS patient and shaking his hand without gloves. This simple gesture obliterated stigma and showcased her fearless approach to charity work. But she didn't stop there. In 1997, Diana walked through an active minefield in Angola, wearing a flak jacket and ballistic helmet. She brought global attention to the devastating impact of landmines, putting her own life on the line for a cause she believed in. The palace was far from thrilled with Diana's hands-on approach and emotional openness. It clashed with everything the royals stood for, leading to heated arguments behind closed doors. But Diana had a powerful ally: the public. People couldn't get enough of the people's princess. Her warmth, vulnerability, and willingness to tackle tough issues resonated in a way the traditional monarchy never could. Diana's impact on the monarchy was seismic. She forced the royals to modernize and become more accessible. Her sons, William and Harry, have carried on her legacy, championing causes like mental health awareness with the same hands-on approach their mother pioneered. However, Diana's rule-breaking came at a tremendous cost. The relentless media scrutiny turned her personal struggles into tabloid fodder. Her brother's chilling prediction that the press would kill her tragically came true. Diana's story shows the incredible power of one person to change an institution, but it also raises a haunting question. At what price does progress come? As we examine the royal rebels who challenge traditions, we must consider whether their bold actions led to lasting change, or if the price of defiance was too high. Can you believe the price these royal rebels paid for challenging the system? Princess Diana's story is the most heartbreaking. The constant media spotlight and pressure from within the palace walls crushed her spirit and played a role in her tragic end. It's a chilling reminder of what can happen when you take on powerful institutions. But wait, their impact didn't end there. These women left lasting legacies that continue to shape our world today. Queen Rania's push for education is still changing lives in Jordan. Farah Pahlavi's dream of a modern Iran inspires many. Queen Noor's humanitarian work reaches across borders. And Diana? Her sons and the causes she fought for keep her memory alive and kicking. These royal rebels proved that even the most set-in-stone institutions can change. But here's the million-dollar question. Was all that sacrifice worth it in the end? What do you think?